what do I do with these? So I start eating them and she's still talking to me. So I'm like trying to eat and talk and study, which is impossible. So I wasn't concentrating on my studies at all. I was just concentrating on her talking to me. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another story time for you guys. I like how in the last video I was like, I want to be a Storytime YouTuber, and then I released 2 story times in 1 month. Anyways, this story time will be February story time, and then as you guys know, I do monthly story times instead of like weekly story times. And so this is February story time, and I'd ask you guys to write down in the comments of the last video what story times you guys would like to see. And somebody wrote they wanted to see a positive story time, and I am all for positive story times because I got so many, okay? Korea is not only like a place where you can get bad story times and like put it on YouTube and like exploit that part of Korea, but like Korea also has a lot of great parts. Just like every country, there are positives and negatives, of course. Like no country is perfect.
Maybe except Kenya though, because that's my country, but that's not the point.
I'm just kidding. Kenya also has some good parts and some bad parts. Today's story time will be about an ajuma. I'm gonna say ajuma a lot. An ajuma basically means older lady. This lady was more like a harmony, which is like a grandma, but I don't want to call it harmony because like that word is just hard to keep saying over and over again. So this happened in March of last year when I was going to school. And for me, as I had said before, it takes me an hour to get from home to school. So I usually take the subway. Obviously, I take the subway. I don't even know I said that because what else would I take? Anyways, besides the point. So I take the subway from my station all the way up to like a station near Yonsei, and then I take a bus. So this day I was studying on the subway. So I was like very determined to get a seat. And as soon as I got on the subway, there was an empty seat and I
low-key ran there and took the seat because, you know, you gotta fight for your seat sometimes because people don't play out here. It's 7 in the morning and people are trying to get at their seat.
So I got my seat and I started studying. I looked a little crazy because I was the only one studying in the whole train, and on top of that, I'm the only foreigner in the whole subway. So we're riding for about 20 minutes. I'm still studying, and by the like 20-minute mark, subway gets to a different station and I hear a bunch of people getting in. I usually have earphones on, but my earphones are just on so people don't talk to me. I don't know if I'm the only one who does that, but sometimes I put earphones on just so people don't talk to me. So I had earphones on, but I could hear people coming in, and I heard a bunch of like ajumas talking when they were getting in. And I looked up and there were 3 ajumas. So at the station, the person who was on my right, who was the closest to like the end of the seat, got up and left. And then I was sitting down and like some other girl next to me was sitting down. So there was 1 empty seat and these 3 ladies got in. And I was like, didn't really think too much about it because I was like, okay, somebody's bound to get up. Like I don't have to get up because I also low-key I'm studying for this exam. And I'm just like, I was really under pressure to be honestly courteous to somebody else. So I wait for a second and one of the ladies sits down next to me, and I'm just thinking, I hear them talking and they're just talking, having a normal conversation, and I'm just studying at this point. And then I noticed that nobody was getting up. The train was packed. It was a lot of people, but a lot of younger people were sitting down, like even maybe younger than me. So I was just like, okay, nobody's getting up. It's low-key rude that I'm just sitting down and these older ladies are standing up, and I can clearly be able to stand up for a longer period of time than they can. I got up and I was like, I told one of the main lady, I was like, hey, do you want to take my seat? And I was speaking in Korean. Korean ladies are always like this, or like people who really care. So they're always like, no, you sit. And I'm like, no.
Absolutely not. You're older than me. Sit down, please.
So she was like, no, sit down. She was like, you're studying. I think you should sit down and like study for whatever you're studying for. And I was like, no, it's really okay. Let me stand up. And she was not letting it go. Like she was not letting it go. She was not letting me get up. And after a while, like she started talking to her friends again. And I was just like, I'm getting up. And I got up and like moved to their other side where like the poles are near the door. So I stood there and I was just studying. And I was like, well, that seat's empty, so she can decide if she wants to sit down or not. So she sits down, and mind you, after she sat down, there's only one other person standing, which is her other friend. So as she sits down, the person who was sitting next to me also gets up, and she stands up, and the lady sits next to her. So I'm just like, okay, bet, they're all sitting down, like they're not gonna get harmed, like the subway like moves, they're fine, they're sitting down. So we ride for another maybe like 15 minutes, like 15 minutes-ish. Her friends get up and leave. I was thinking in my head, should I take that seat? But then I was like, no, that would be weird because I already got up and I'm already up, so it's no point in me taking that seat. So I was like, bet, somebody's gonna have to take that seat because the subway is very crowded that day. So as I was reading, I hear somebody call me, and it wasn't like Paris call me, but it was more like,
아가씨, 저기 아가씨.
And I'm like, that can't be me, right? I was like still studying, and then I hear somebody tap me. So somebody taps me, and it was like this random person. This random guy taps me and then points at the lady. And then I look at her and I'm like, oh. And I noticed that somebody had sat down where the other girl next to me was sitting down, but where the ajumma was sitting was my original seat, and then next to her there was an empty seat. This lady had her hands on the seat so nobody can sit next to her but me. And mind you, there's a lot of people standing up waiting for it open, like for a seat to open, but this lady is not letting the seat go. So she puts her hand on the seat and I'm like, uh-oh, that means I definitely have to sit down now. This lady gets up, gets me, and sits me down. And you know, like, it would be weird for me to be like, nah fam, you good. So I was just like, okay, I'll sit down, I guess, because this lady literally pulled me to the seat. And mind you, everybody's staring at me at this point, because it's just like, this lady is like legit pulling this random foreign girl. So I'm sitting down and I'm just like, oh,
This is awkward. This is very awkward.
So she starts talking to me and she's trying to talk to me in English because I guess she didn't really like connect the two when I was speaking to her in Korean that I understand Korean and I know Korean to some extent. So she's trying to speak to me in English, and usually when people try to speak to me in English, I give them the chance. I give them a chance to practice whatever English they know. I give them a chance to maybe like, I just want to see what abilities of English they have because I don't want to cut somebody off and just be like,
okay, your English sucks, so let me just speak to you in Korean.
After a while, I started noticing she is struggling with the English. She didn't really know what to say. So I was just like, oh, I know Korean. You can just speak to me in Korean. And her face was so bright. She was like, thank God, I don't have to speak in English anymore. So basically, what I'm trying to say is for 15 minutes, she just ended up talking to me in Korean the whole time. And she's talking to me about her family. She is asking me what I like to eat while I'm in Korea. Basically, it was like an interview of why I'm in Korea, what I like. And then she, out of nowhere, this is making me smile because it was so cute. So out of nowhere, she starts digging in a purse. Like she's digging in a purse and I'm just like, okay, I guess she needs something. So she digs in a purse and she pulls out a box of chocolates. And they're like milk duds, but they're like the Korean version of milk duds. I don't know what they're called because I didn't get a chance to see the box. So she pulls out a milk duds box. So she pulls it out and she tells me to pull my hands out. So I pull my hands out and I'm like, oh, I guess she's gonna give it to me. So I put my hands out and she takes the whole box and goes on my hand. Low-key in my head, I was like, why did you just give me the box? So she gives me the whole box, she pours it in my hand. And did I tell you I was trying to study? So I have my book on my lap and I have all these chocolate, like little chocolate milk duds on my hand and I'm just sitting there like, what do I do with these? So I start eating them and she's still talking to me. So I'm like trying to eat and talk and study, which is impossible. So I wasn't concentrating on my studies at all. I was just concentrating on her talking to me. So I'm like eating the chocolate like really awkwardly, slowly, because I didn't want to just like, because low-key, that's what I wanted to do. Because I was just like, this is so awkward. People are staring at me. Like, this is so weird. But I didn't want to be rude to her because she was trying really hard to accommodate to me. I'm eating the chocolate and she's like, how is it? And I'm like,
It's great.
she's still talking to me. And then she starts talking to me about her grandson. And then I start low-key noticing she's trying to hook me up with her grandson. And I was like, I didn't say anything though. Of course, I just let her talk. She was like, hey, I have this grandson. He's also kind of good at English. And I'm like, oh, word, is he? I didn't know what to say. Talking to me about her grandson. She's still talking about her grandson. And this is like 5 minutes of just grandson talk. And I'm just like, oh, really? And I'm like, how old is he? And she's like, he's your age. And I'm like, oh, word. And she's just like, you should come over to my house sometimes. We can make you kimchi jjigae. Like, you can meet my grandson. And I'm low-key like,
Yeah, that's never gonna happen.
and it's not like I'm saying it's never gonna happen because like I'm like I don't want to meet the grandson or something like that, but it's just like if you're from a Kenyan family, your parents don't let you go to random people's houses like that. I've never even had a sleepover in my life, let alone going to strangers' houses, because she's still a stranger in my book, you know what I mean? But I'm just like, oh my God, that would be nice, because she had asked me what's my favorite food, and at the time I was like really into like kimchi jjigae and kimchi sundubu. So I was telling her that, and she was like, yeah, we can make it for you, just come over to my house. I live here, here, here. She ends up even telling me her address, and I'm low-key like, you should probably not be telling people your address like that. That's probably not safe. I mean, I'm not gonna do anything with her address, but it was pretty funny. And I'm just like sitting there like thinking about what my parents would think of this, and they will probably be like, you not going to their house? And I was like,
You're right. I'm not.
She gives me her grandson's Kakao Talk and she's like, here, you should message him. And I was like, thank you. And I took the grandson's Kakao Talk and I added it to my Kakao Talk. I never messaged him because I just thought that would be really creepy. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I don't like being creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to just be like,
hey, I met your grandmother in the subway station and she was like really cool and she told me to message you because like she thinks I'm nice, I guess. I don't know.
I didn't want to do that. That's not me. That's not me. Not me at all. So I took her grandson's Kakao Talk and then we kept talking and then it gets to her stop. And when it gets to her stop, she goes back in her purse. So she goes back into her purse. She's like shuffling. And then she pulls out a whole chocolate bar. This lady must have been like, chocolate girl, chocolate bars. She must like chocolate, which by the way, I love chocolate. Like, so she pulls out a chocolate bar and I think I actually have this chocolate bar. Hold on. Let me check if I have this chocolate bar. So sadly, I can't find the chocolate bar. I took a picture of it the day she gave it to me, so I'm just gonna post a picture of what it looked like. It's a very common chocolate bar in Korea. I never ate it because I kind of kept it as a memory. So I don't even know how it tastes like. I don't even know what type of chocolate it is, but I kept it as a memory because that was like the most memorable moment. So after she gave me the chocolate bar, she ended up leaving and I don't know what it was, but I was just like, that was the most craziest meeting on a subway I've ever had. Like, I've had like other weird things happen to me on a subway, but like that was like the craziest and probably the most memorable positive moments that I've had in Korea. I got a souvenir from it. And the lesson that I learned, because of course I said that I was gonna only post story times that I have a lesson that I learned. And the lesson that I learned here was not everybody is ready to be rude to you because you're a foreigner, and if you're nice to somebody else, they're probably gonna also return that favor and be nice to you. I don't mean like just be like randomly nice to people and then expect them to like be nice back to you, because I wish the world worked like that, but it doesn't. Some people will return the favor and some people just wouldn't care. Like, they expect you to be nice. Don't judge a book by their cover, because like a lot of people have said like ajumas are really mean, ajumas don't like black people, and I could have just sat down and just ignored her and just acted like this old lady was not in front of me struggling to stand up, and I could have been like, oh, okay, I'll just sit down then since you don't want to sit down. But I ended up getting up, and I like that she appreciated that, and she actually held the seat for me, and she talked to me the whole time, and she gave me her grandson's Kakao Talk. But by the way, I never messaged him. I just thought that would be really creepy, so I was just like, I'm not gonna message this guy. Another lesson is, if people speak to you in English in Korea and it's broken English, don't be too hasty to stop them and be like, hey, I know Korean, like, let them speak a little bit more so they can practice, because I know a lot of senior citizens do take English classes and maybe they just want to practice. So just let them practice, and if they have a really hard time, then just be like, hey, I know Korean. If you prefer speaking Korean, that's fine. I can speak to you in Korean too. Those are the main lessons that I learned. So if you have any stories that you want to share, comment down below and share your story. Anyways, guys, that was today's story time. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you have yet to subscribe to my channel. The next video will probably be a get ready with me. This get ready with me, I will be talking about like my ex-boyfriend, my boyfriend, like all like my love life type of things. So if you guys have any questions about like my ex or my current or my future or whatever, I don't know, write the questions down below. I will try and answer as many questions I can. Of course, I will only answer questions that I'm comfortable with. If you write like a strange like question, I'm probably not going to answer it, to be honest. So if you guys have any questions about that, write it down in the comments down below, and I will be answering them in my next video. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, like and share to your friends, or with your friends, to your friends. To your friends? Yes, to your friends. Like and share to your friends, and also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Bye, guys! Domenyo yangu na ya kuku mateke yanichenga, kila siku kilio salini nicheke, sina tenda ugali buguru ni mboga temeke, nafurahi umeniridhia, niwe na wewe kimwali, maisha yangu mitiani.